So next we have two presenters, Senger and Paul Cabaj, who will talk to us about the cooperative as a tool for community resilience. Please give them a hand.
After all that, I'm a bit worried we don't have any crotches or penises in our presentation.
Sorry about that. But it's close. What we're going to talk about instead is we're going to talk about market failure. There's lots of it.
Market failure in Somalia right now. You have a free market economy for most of the world. There's still people starving in this kind of wealth and plenitude. And our whole focus on actually developing and focusing on our economy, the growth of our economy, is giving us a planet which is actually being extremely overburdened.
Not too exciting with the unholy horseman, the perfect storm of economic failure, right? Environmental failure and the energy crisis has its reason to make a person scream. And then couple that with your inheritance money, your father's inheritance money, and the way that his portfolio has crashed.
People are stressed out.
Yeah, there you go.
Jeff didn't want me to say this, but after hearing the other presentations, this is another guy going through an anxiety, like a stock market crash. We think he's actually upset because he's now seen his Coke fund actually drop out. He can no longer afford his own Coke. But just the intensity of what's going on, there's failure everywhere. There's something going on within our systems right now that we have to look at some different alternatives. And part of it has to do with the way we actually set up ourselves up, the way we think about ourselves, our economy, how we look at things. There's almost a sense of we're being looked at. If we don't do something, we're going to be eaten by the big guy. The big guy is always better. The big guy will win to some extent. And we've got to take a different way of looking at things. And Jeff and I have had some experiences together. We've got some alternatives.
Yeah, well, when I first met Paul, we were working on a couple of different projects, but we figured that when people work together, they can challenge the status quo, and that's what this is about. It's about grassroots social change through the use of community cooperatives, and that may be preempting a little bit, but we can sort of gang up and make a difference, and we can make a change, and we've had some good experience like that.
And there's experiences all over the world. This is the Mondragon area of Spain. At one point was actually one of the lowest standards of living in the world. They got together. It's now one of the most active cooperative economies in the world. It's actually one of the most stable and vibrant economies. They've had very little effect by their profession right now. I like this photo because this is one of their hydroelectric dams. Our dams in Alberta should look like that. Aren't that great?
So Paul told me all about this, and I was a corporate finance student working in accounting, and I thought, yeah, but there's no profits. It's all just volunteering, right? We did lots of volunteering. As we uncovered and read case studies, around the world and also here at home, I realized that the cooperative model, because of the energy from the grassroots and the social commitment that people have to cooperatives, there's a whole lot of profit available, right, collectively.
Lots of profit and lots of return. One of the greatest things about working with co-ops, and this example actually in the north is it's the finances there. You can make money on these things. There's also the fierce pride you see when people are getting work together on something, to collectivize something. It brings together in a very legal format some of all the things we want to work about.
Well, and here's sort of the payoffs. Rather than profit as a primary motive of a cooperative, there's sort of social benefits and environmental benefits because it's a community building a community and solving community needs. So of course, there's an economic benefit. We did lots of financial forecasting around that. So any of the businesses that we've been involved with, the co-ops we've been involved with, are economic returners, but it fulfills the social need.
So Jeff and I have been working for a couple of years in co-ops together. Next year happens to be the International Year of Co-ops as designated by the UN. It's actually one of the most ascribed to UN National Year ever, and we're very happy to be part of that, so next year watch out.
Well, yeah, just bringing it back home, this is a huge success story just up the road, an hour out of Edmonton. Westlock Terminals was facing being shut down, right? A small community loses a huge asset because the corporate monopoly or oligarchy that owned it couldn't make enough money actually operating the grain terminal,
But they came along, they raised a bunch of money, and it's now the most successful grain terminal profit-wise in the provinces right now.
So Paul and I were inspired by this business model, and we took it to a town that's close to my heart, the town of Sangudo. That's no longer a town. It's the only town that doesn't exist. It's a hamlet. But they were on the brink of losing some key business assets, and we got some ranchers and locals in the room. We put money in a pot, and we bought local businesses. So that was really cool. And then we thought, well, let's kick it off. Let's get involved in something really close and dear to my heart. I was the controller of a biomass generating facility at the time, and I said, Paul, let's do something big in Alberta. A market that's really in failure is the energy system. And if you don't believe me, just look at your power bill for August, and wait until the one that you get at the end of September. Not only that, but the power infrastructure in Alberta is aging and has one of the highest per energy output CO2 emissions in the world. Yeah, that's a big mouthful, but especially when you're going fast. So there's sort of an environmental need, a social need, and an economic need. And at the time, like I was saying, I was working at a biomass generator. We actually produced green power in Alberta, 28 megawatts of it, and we were selling it into the grid for coal prices, which was an absolute failure to me. So I quit. Paul and I hung out a lot more, and we're waiting for the next slide now. We decided to do something about it, right? We could take a cooperative business model, and we could make a difference and make a change.
And after fusion and tolerance, we started looking at this. This is the carbon cycle. In Alberta, we've won the lottery. We're sitting on one of the greatest resources of carbon energy in the world. It takes about 1.5 billion years for the whole cycle to go through to give us the resources we have right now, which is very interesting. Because right now, basically, we're using these resources at a rapid pace. Think of the carbon we have stored energy as a battery. It took 1 billion plus years to make it. We've used it more than half of it in about 100 years. That's like charging your cell phone for 1 hour's use in 124 years. There's something wrong with it. There's a market failure right there that we will have our society organized.
Hence, we'll cooperatize the power utility system in Alberta, and we built a cooperative. It's 100% member-owned, and the whole essential idea is that we buy power wholesale and we sell it to our members at retail prices. So we reduce any kind of corporate gouging, and we launched August 1st. It's been crazy, a lot of media attention, like Pecha Kucha organizers, etc. And we sort of erased this element that there is no choice in Alberta. So if you want to speak to hope.
We weren't actually sure what to do with the slides. We're just going to look at it for a second. It's very good.
That's Mr.
It came through, but we weren't
Mr. Corporate Utility.
We did 6 runs on this. We're not sure where we're going with this right now. But it's been what's blown us away is the kind of attention we found. We thought we'd moved the needle on green energy. We've been around for 2 months. We're getting calls from people saying, you give us hope. You give us hope that we can make a change. We're getting calls from government and policymakers already. It's been 2 months. We're blown away by the process.
Right, it's all about influence, right? So we've gained influence by making a very small change. And we challenge all of you in the audience today to think about something that you think is unjust. And if you can apply a cooperative model, we'd love to talk to you because we can help make it work.
And you can build some great relationships.